Hi, my name is Gaurav Agrawal. I am a medtechpreneur and a co-founder of two companies, namely Involution and IITPL. I'm also a member of the DLC's Global ITAS Committee. Uh, Today, I intend to deliver a talk which is titled If I Can, So Can You, Reflections from My Entrepreneurial Journey. So picture this, a country bumpkin grown up in small and dusty towns of UP, several towns actually, because my father was in a transferable job. Pickle in the middle between an elder and a younger sister, obese, almost English illiterate, and with very poor cognitive intelligence and very poor grades to boot. What do you think would be the chances of a man like that? Most would say, and so would I, very slim, right? This was my life journey till about 18 years. I had very few things going for me except a very loving family. I was raised in a very loving family atmosphere. I had a doting mother, two very, very amazing sisters, a very intelligent, mild-mannered, morally upright, high-ranking government official as a father. And beyond that, there was really not much going my way till the age of 18 years. In 1992, my life took a irreversible turn with my admission into Manipal for an engineering course, which was a very prestigious institute even back then. And that was the first time and my first brush with real life. I was raised in a very protected environment. And that was also the time where, fortunately, I had the foresight that adversity and opportunity are two sides of actually the same coin. And the very first big risk I did take, and it paid off, and how. I chose biomedical engineering, which, for the information of the viewers, was the very first time this engineering course was being offered in the country. Right into my course, first 2 years, I floundered a lot, given all the limited abilities that I had. But I decided that no matter what the issue at hand, I must start chipping at my issues one problem at a time. The very first one that I addressed was my language issues, because I was in south of India. Manipal was a very westernized place even back then, and I found it extremely hard to converse. So I read 24 editions of India Today magazine, front page to back, and I made Renan Martin and Oxford Dictionary a constant companion of mine. Now it was time to attack the other issue, which was my weight. I was 106 kgs when I entered Manipal in 1992 and was down to 76 kgs by the time I was in my final third year, about 30 kgs lighter. And I took part in a modeling contest in the fourth year. That was the second problem addressed. Now, the third problem was the core of my engineering course, which was my cognitive abilities and my scores. I was just floundering along the first 3 years, focusing largely on my personality ethics. And in 7th and 8th semester, I scored distinction. And I distinctly remember that being the very first time this course was being offered, there were no campus recruitment companies that were willing to come forward. And on the last day of my 8th semester, I was boarding a bus to go to Mangalore to take a train to Jhansi, where I used to live. And I saw a friend of mine frantically waving at me and running behind the bus. Looking at him like that, I deboarded the bus. And he told me, Gaurav, there is a campus recruitment company. And I rebuked him. I said, look, I have no chance of getting through that interview, because at pre-placement stage, unless you have a first division throughout, you're not allowed to attend campus interviews. And as luck would have it, I was not allowed to attend the pre-placement talk. The same very night, we went to the hotel where the executive committee or interviews were staying. We somehow convinced them that out of 30, if they applied this filter, 19 would be filtered out, and they would have only a limited pool to choose from. They allowed us, and the rest was history. They chose 3 students, 2 from the top of the pile and 1 Gaurav Agrawal, yours truly, from the very bottom of the pile. And this job was literally a finishing school for me. It was a very reputed medical devices company, a startup though, based out of Hyderabad. And I was to look after all of North India. The company was led by a very charismatic and suave leader, Mr. Ram Narayan. I soaked up a lot of his mannerisms, and a lot of my personality is a reflection of who he was. And I'm inspired by him till date. Now started the second chapter of my life. From my first job, I moved to a very respected multinational company called 3M back in Delhi, as I wanted to move closer home. And my 2 years tenure at 3M was largely nondescript, barring the influence I had from a very charismatic leader, Atul Khanna, who continues to shape me into the professional I am today. After that, I joined a company called Boston Scientific, which was really another turning point in my career. And that is where I first started coming into my own, really. Here, I was assisting a lot of neurosurgeons in doing very complex stroke procedures. And within 4 months of my role, I was training people in India and abroad. From there, I moved to a company which was called Guidant, and I was pulled in by the same leader. He went to Guidant and I joined Guidant, which became Abbott Vascular. And that was, from then to now, I've always been in the cardiovascular care industry, basically matters of the heart. I'm very, very passionate about saving lives that are lost due to heart attacks. Is the number one cause of death in the country. So I very quickly rose through the ranks and in responsibility. In my last role at Abbott Vascular, Guidant was acquired by Abbott. I was the marketing manager Asia Pacific, looking after a very large P&L and the entire Asia Pacific's marketing. Then something happened and I was offered a role of CEO in one of India's leading medtech startups called Merrill Life Sciences. And it was a huge risk to take, but given my propensity and risk appetite, I took that role, I took the plunge, and I was fortunate to have a large part of my team at Abbott join me. And within 9 months, we took the company. I joined in September 2009. And by June 2010, the company had grown about 6-fold in revenue. And then the most important event of my life, again by serendipity, we were taking a train from Paris to Switzerland during a large trade show. And my team said, boss, there is a need or there is a vacuum in the country to create a pan-India sales and marketing company focused on cardiovascular care. Alongside a couple of glasses of wine on few cocktail napkins, the inception of Involution, we decided to call our company Involution, a mix of innovation and evolution was born. Now talking primarily, I'm going to base the next 5 or 6 minutes of my talk on IITPL because it's a company where we build cath labs. Cath labs are life-saving equipments, and it is perhaps one of the only X-ray imaging equipment which is both diagnostic as well as therapeutic. So cath labs save lives. All kinds of complex procedures like angioplasties, pacemaker implantations, valve replacements are done under the guidance of a cath lab. It's a large capital equipment costing in crores. And we are fortunate, I'm very proud also to announce that we are the 9th company in all of the world to make cath labs. Now we've had a lot of use of technology in our cath labs, and that has been extremely gratifying given my background as a biomedical engineer. The first choice that we had was to build a cath lab which exactly competes with the big boys, the Philips, Siemens, GE, very large companies with very deep tech. But we decided that our first product needed to be something or a product that caters to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities and actually saves lives. For a country of our size, we have less than 1 million angioplasties happening in the country with about 70 million people suffering from cardiac disease. So we built one model which could do all kinds of cardiac procedures, and that became extremely successful. We went on to win many national and international awards, including award by the Government of India for Medical Device Company of the Year, award from the President of India, and several other awards by Government of Japan and Switzerland. That set the tone for us to start on a larger journey, embark on a journey of creating a complete portfolio of products or technologies in the cath lab space. And today I'm proud to announce that we are now the 2nd largest selling cath lab in the country by unit market share. Technology has played a very important role to highlight some of the things that we've done differently. We started our cath labs with a single 55-inch monitor when 4 small 19-inch monitors was the norm. That was one big technological breakthrough, and we did it at a fraction of the cost of which multinational companies do it at. We also brought in an industrial-grade tablet as the entire controller for the cath lab, and we did away with a very clunky user interface, making the user interface very, very small, user-friendly. The third innovation that we did was that with the cath lab, image quality and the X-ray dose are of paramount consideration. And we chose a lower dose and higher resolution camera or panel. So that is the way how an Indian company today, in the 4th year of its running, is able to compete with some of the best in the industry globally. So I hope with my talk today, I've been able to very succinctly put across the story of a very ordinary individual who's today making a mark, is able to create an organization that is about 300 crores in size, employs about 250 people across 20 locations, and is well on its way to become a $100 million organization by 2026. Thank you very much. And last but not the least, I'd like to thank Della Leaders Club and Mr. Jimmy Mistry for providing such a wonderful platform for knowledge sharing. I look forward to many more such sessions. Thank you very much.